Hello, sir. Welcome to Sister Sharpens Sister. Today, we are talking about something that the United States ranks number one in. You know, we are not number one in a lot of things, like when it comes to education and healthcare and all that other good stuff. But we are number one in self-storage facilities. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew
It
that.
doesn't surprise me.
Hmm.
In 2018, Statista.com says that 90% of the total self-storage units worldwide are located in the United States of America. That is a big number.
Well,
90%,
we're also a very big place.
right, and we're also a very wealthy nation. But I think it says something about our ability to let go. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it. We were just talking last week about the number of jars that I have downstairs. The United States in 2024 has I'm sorry, this is not 5,000, 52,301 storage facilities. I don't know what month that was done in, but it was 2024 statistic. And new facility openings annually between the years of 2020 and 2023. You want to take a wild guess at how many storage facilities were opening every year in that 3-year time frame? 735 new facilities every year.
Okay.
But get this, from 2010 to 2019, a 9-year period, the annual growth the annual growth rate was only 439 facilities. So for all the people that are going tiny and all of the millennials and whatever the next generation after millennials is, who are like saying, I don't want my parents' stuff, we're that number has grown like 735 new facilities in 2024.
Well, since they don't want their parents' stuff, they have to have a place to put it.
Well, that might be true, but from the things that I have read,
Hmm.
they're donating that stuff to Goodwill. They're having yard sales and estate sales, and they're just getting rid of it.
Right.
Furniture's being sold with their homes and things
Hmm.
like that.
Right.
Somebody's keeping stuff.
But well, what I was thinking of is baby boomers are the largest generation.
Deal.
They they are like we never had storage facilities. Like they never did, right? Except
Right.
for maybe a shed on their property. And I think that as these things are popping up, they're getting more use, more people, just on demand because of that larger generation having all of this stuff because they were raised by Depression era people.
Yeah.
They still have all the stuff. So I would imagine it would be them. And also I think of people like in our area in Florida who are retirees, they
Mm-hmm.
will keep, and I've been in these people's houses. They're completely spotless. And I'm thinking, where do you have all your crap? Well, it's in a storage facility.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
I had also thought too, and my church does this. They have a storage unit, several of them, I think, and they store things like one year we or several years we did a Easter performance on a scaffolding system that was set up inside the church that was the shape of a cross. And that's very large. We didn't have space to store that
Yeah.
on the church grounds. So I know they have storage facilities for things like that. So I wonder how many businesses and churches are using these storage facilities instead of just the average individual.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot too that you have a boom. the last several years of people having running businesses, their little side gigs out of their homes. And if you're somebody that's pretty successful, I don't know, maybe you make bows for cheerleaders, for their hair, or you make wreaths, or you do, I don't know, you make stickers, or you cut vinyl and those things that, the wraps that go around cups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you do something like that and you have your stuff stored in a storage facility.
I've actually seen people run businesses out of storage places like that,
Yeah.
straight out of the storage place versus just having everything put there, you know.
Yeah. And what about people who do, like up here, it's a Four Seasons area as opposed to Florida where, you just have two, rainy season and not rainy season, right? Yeah.
It's snowbird season and hurricane season.
Yeah, there you go. But up here where you've got Four Seasons, you have these people that do lawn care, and then in the winter, they do snow removal.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to have somewhere to store the two types of equipment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's where my thoughts run to when it came to this. And I also looked up, when did personal organization become such a big thing on social media? We've all seen the videos of people
Mhm.
organizing their refrigerators, and they do the little snap to videos where it's like, oh, I don't know, the Go-Gurts all go in this very cute little clear container, and all the
Mm-hmm.
fruit goes in the clear containers, and everything goes in the fridge, and all of your, what's that? What's not Coke, but it's some kind of little poppy or something like that, sparkling beverage of some kind, that all your cans are lined
Mm-hmm.
up neatly. And you know what I never noticed in these people's refrigerators is that they don't have sandwich meat, they don't have cheese, they don't have mayonnaise, they don't have mustard,
They don't
they
have
don't have
leftovers.
leftovers. I
Yeah.
noticed stuff like that.
They ain't, I don't think that they're that functional. I think it's just for the video.
Right, it's not realistic. And one thing that I will do, and Dee Dee, I'm not trying to steal your thunder. I'm just going to say I'm going to put some pictures in here that Dee Dee sent.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like an actual real person's refrigerator. This is not a
Yes.
refrigerator for social media.
No.
Hey, you're an actual real person.
I am. Am I? I don't know. Am I?
The rise of all of this personal organization on social media actually started way back in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, considering we're in 2025, so
Mm-hmm.
right around 25 years ago. But it wasn't to the degree that we're seeing it now. You've got the advent of TikTok and Facebook Reels and even YouTube Reels. And then, it has grown.
Well, it's more easily available to more people now because of all of the social media.
Yeah, yeah. And all of the, there's a YouTube channel that my youngest daughter actually turned me on to about 10 years ago. Her name is Catherine, and her YouTube channel is called Do It on a Dime. And her whole thing is that you can organize your house and make it look very pretty on a dime, meaning that she shops at like the Dollar Tree, or the, now
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be the dollar and a quarter tree, and Dollar General, and she shops sales at Walmart and Target, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But the rise of the more visual platforms like Instagram brought it to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind watching these people organize.
Yeah, it's kind of almost mesmerizing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it kind of inspires you to get up and go do it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
motivates you to get your own organization done. Another thing that I also like to watch is decluttering. You've got
Mm-hmm.
Marie Kondo, and what was her, uh, God, what was her book? Shalon, do you know what her book was called?
The well, I have a note that she had a Netflix series. I didn't write down all of her books.
Yeah, but one of her books spawned the Netflix series, and I actually own that book.
It's called the Netflix series is called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo.
Yeah, but the book is something like The Joy of something.
Let me look.
Well, what I've got is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, the Japanese art of decluttering and organizing.
Yeah, that
Okay.
might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it talked
but
about her method is the KonMari method.
yeah, they call it that. That's a take on her name.
Yeah. And it's where you would gather everything in your house. And what I read was it's one category at a time. So you get all of your clothes and then you decide which ones you're going to keep. And it's whether or not the item sparks joy and
Sparks
is,
joy. Yeah,
yeah. And I was like, I don't know that sweatpants spark joy, but they're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I have like 30 pair.
I'll tell you what. One of the things that I do, I don't necessarily do. Does it spark joy? But if I haven't worn it in the last year,
Mm-hmm.
I get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good rule.
Yeah, there was that thing that went around where you turn your hangers backwards
Huh?
in your
Yes,
closet.
I remember that.
Have you not done that?
No.
So when like you go through your clothes and you decide, what can you give away at this moment, right? But then
Okay.
everything else that's still there, you're going to turn it around so the hanger is backwards. And then if in 6 months that hanger is still backwards, get rid of it.
Okay, that makes sense. But now
I
let
remember
me
a lot of
say,
people doing that.
huh?
I said I remember a lot of people posting and doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, there are some things that you keep that you may not wear every year. Like you might have a black dress that you wear to a funeral,
Mm-hmm.
or you may have a particular dress that you like to wear, or a pantsuit that you like to wear to weddings,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Now those you keep those as long as they still fit.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different category though than just like your regular everyday
Right.
clothes, your t-shirts or your jeans or your sweatshirts.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, professional organizing actually emerged as a recognized industry and career path starting in 1984. Did you know that?
Wow.
I didn't know it went back to 1984.
I didn't either. Mm-mm.
But when you think Martha Stewart,
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
she was
Yeah.
getting started at that time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, while the concept of organizing and decluttering has roots in like ancient philosophy, I guess, but the formal establishment of a professional organizer as a distinct profession started in the 1980s with organizations like the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, or NAPO, NAPO. They formalize the field and they provide certification options that solidify it as a viable career. Certification is not required. One of the things that it requires to get that certification is 1,500 paid hours of professional organizing before you get your certificate, which to me is putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like an internship.
Right. It's not like going to nursing. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
have to work for a year as a nurse before we can give you your nursing license.
Yeah.
But you do have to sit for a test. It's 125 multiple choice question test, and then you get your certificate. But then you have people like what's her name, Cassandra something or another from Clutterbug. She has her own professional thing that you can go to that I really want to do. But it's $150 and you learn how to become a professional organizer and you get a certificate. She also has a $30 thing that you do for 30 days. It's a 30-day crash course, I guess. But for like 15 minutes a day for 30 days, you focus one area and she teaches you how to organize. But I thought that was pretty neat. Now there are other organizations. One of them was, let me see if I can find it. Other organizations like the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organizers is one. But there is a board of certification for professional organizers. They're the ones that come up with the test. They're the ones that come up with continuing education. There's continuing education. And a lot of that has to do with the psychology of why we keep our stuff. Okay. Yeah, this lady from Clutterbug has a free organizing masterclass. And she has a organized 30 spaces in 30 days organizing boot camp. And then she has become an organizing expert. $149. Learn everything to become a certified organizational specialist. And I like organizing. And I get on a tear, as my husband calls it, about once a year. And I go through my house. I go through my clothes. I go through my junk drawers, and I declutter. I get rid of stuff. Go through the kitchen. If I have stuff I haven't used for a while, I will. Oh, this other lady I follow on YouTube. She's the Minimal Mom, but I can't remember her name. She says that when it comes to something like your kitchen, get a box. If you haven't used an appliance for a little while and it's taking up space and you're thinking about getting rid of it, before you get rid of it and you have to go buy a new one, put it in a box, take it downstairs or put it in a closet, leave it there for a month. If you don't miss it for that month, you're probably okay to go ahead and get rid of it, unless it's something that you use again like once a year. If you do canning and you have canning supplies, you might want to keep all that stuff, right?
Her
So
first name is Dawn.
that's it. Yeah, the Minimal Mom. I really like her. Yeah, she and her sister, I think, have a program or a Facebook group where they talk with other moms and they do like Bible studies with their followers and things like that. She's really cool.
I am really the only organizer I'm very familiar with is Cass from Clutterbug. And I actually have a book of hers that I've never used.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. And I believe Mother gave me this,
Oh, that's cool.
which doesn't surprise me after living with her. She's like, I guess I need help. But it's called Cluttered Mess to Organized Success. And it's a workbook.
Okay.
And every chapter is a section of your life. Chapter 1 is getting your brain organized, your goals, your dreams. Chapter 2 is getting your time organized.
I think I need that book.
Chapter 3 is getting your family organized.
Wow.
So like what the schedules are, when is everybody's dentist appointments, what's needed for school, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And it's not until chapter 4 that you get to organizing your home. And then it jumps into organizing your meals. Chapter 6 is organizing your finances. Chapter 7 is organizing your health. Chapter 8, organizing for emergencies, making sure that you have all of your emergency contacts and first aid kits and all that stuff. Chapter 9 is organizing for fun, which is where you list off your books you're going to read, what movies you're going to watch, your hobbies, date night ideas.
Hmm.
And then she gives you chapter 10, which is labeling is magic. And this actually has labels.
Oh,
And it has a link to be able to, and a code to be able to get into the downloads for these.
that's cool.
Isn't that neat?
Yes.
But I think that this is something that I would like to do. It's something that I definitely need to do, especially just moving into a new home. This is a good time to do it because I'm having to unpack crap.
Hmm.
But I also looked up, what does God's word say about organizing? Does he even talk about being organized? And
I have one verse that pops into my head when we're talking about that,
what?
and I can't name chapter and verse, but it is the one where Jesus says, if a guy is getting ready to build a silo, does he not take into consideration the cost of it first?
Okay.
Meaning you have to plan.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a verse like that in Proverbs too. It talks about,
Maybe that's where it is. I'll look it up while you keep talking.
but the ones I have three, Matthew 6:19 through 21, and it's Jesus speaking. And he says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where the moths and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store for yourselves treasure in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Okay, yeah, my verse was in Luke 14:28. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it?
Yeah. I also have a verse in Luke, but it's chapter 12, verse 15. And it says, then he said to them, this is Jesus speaking, watch out, be on your guard against all greed. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions,
Yeah, I
which
think that goes towards the hoarding aspect.
I do not even remember ever hearing that one. All right, and my last one is in Ecclesiastes 3:6. And this is where it's the was it 1960s or 70s song, there's a time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it says there is a time to keep and a time to throw away.
So declutter.
Yeah. And then on my notes, it's interesting that you started off with this question with this note, Karen, but I wrote down abundance is the issue.
Yeah. And my dog is part cat. Just ignore him.
Something that really draws me to Cass is from Clutterbug is because she does not try to fit everybody into one type of organization pocket. She gives different organization types and she labels them as bugs, which we all took the test, in which I was actually surprised that we're all a B.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So she talks about having, you have visual organizers and you have hidden organizers. So the visuals are people who like to see their things, where it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I'm going to forget that I have this if I don't have it where I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the hidden organizers, which is typically like your more traditional organizing style, where you have everything in, closed in a drawer. It's completely tidy. You have no clutter to be seen. Then there's micro thinkers and macro thinkers. Micro thinkers are very detail oriented. They're planners. And macro thinkers are big picture, needs to be fast and easy, which is like a child, right? That's how you start teaching your kid how to organize first. It's fast and
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I listened to a short YouTube video that she has that explains all of these. Is that echo me or is that,
I don't
am
hear
I,
an echo.
nobody hears? Okay. It just must be on my side. All right, B's, we are visual and we are micro, which means we tend to be perfectionists. But
Unfortunately.
this is so funny because this totally described me. But unless we can do it the right way, we are going to procrastinate and put it off until we can get it done the right way. And it also says that bees struggle with indecision on what is the best way. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, yeah, that's me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm curious. You said when we were talking the other night, you said that before you retook the test, excuse me, you were something else. What were you before?
Okay. And I figured this out because when I first took this, I was a young mom. My kids were young. And I was very much in a ladybug, what she considers a ladybug,
Okay.
which is a macro thinker, which needs to be fast and easy. And they will shove clutter anywhere. So ladybugs don't like visual clutter. They like to keep things hidden, but it needs to be fast and easy. So it's a lot of bins and baskets and drawer organizers. But I think as my children have gotten older and just having to manage everything, I
Yeah.
have transitioned or have started becoming more of a bee in certain areas. And she also talks about how you will have different styles. You're not just all one type of organizing bug.
Right.
You can be a bee and a ladybug or a bee and a butterfly. And you have certain areas of your life, which I've noticed this about myself as well, where you are like at work. I am more of a cricket, which is a traditional organizer, but at home, I'm completely different.
Hmm.
And you might have certain parts of your house that you treat that way as well. Like your kitchen, you might be a hidden organizer where you have everything in your drawers and you don't have things like hung up and out up on like open shelving, that type of thing. But in your bedroom, you might be completely the opposite. So, um, let's see, where was I at? A cricket, she considers traditional organizers, which are hidden and micro. So they're very detail oriented. So instead of, just having one drawer where you have all of your bills, a cricket will have the drawer that you have all of your bills, and then every bill will have a particular file. I believe that all children are butterflies.
I would agree.
Uh, the butterflies are very macro, which means it needs to be fast and easy, and they're visual. They need to have things out so they can see them. And a butterfly is not someone who's going to take a lid off of something to put it away. Like it needs to just be open. So that yeah, my children are very much butterflies, although Jen has gotten into becoming more, um, she's venturing into other organization types. I can tell by her bathroom and her drawers, things that I see like that. And I'm trying to get my youngest organized as well. And something I've done for her because she will not like to keep her clothes in her drawers because she can't see them. Or and Karen can attest to this because she helped me pack my house, is she had everything in her trundle.
Yep.
She had all of her clothes in her trundle, so there was all in this one spot that she could just open up, and they were all right there, and she could see everything. But what I've done is I've taken and let her take Post-its and put them on her drawers. And, this is where all of her leggings are at. This is where her socks are at. These are her hoodies, and I let her decide how micro she wanted to go on that. Do you want all your long sleeve shirts separate from your regular shirts, or do you just want all your shirts together? So, I let her do that choice. But yeah, I'm trying to get her to use her drawers. Not just one big drawer.
Would have just put everything on a hanger, except for socks and underwear. Everything else would have been on a hanger.
Right. Me personally, I don't like hanging t-shirts. I don't think a t-shirt deserves a hanger. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't, maybe it's because I have too many t-shirts to hang.
No, I'm the same way about t-shirts. I think t-shirts belong in a drawer. My husband likes to hang them. So,
Hung up unless it's a workout shirt. All of my workout stuff is in one drawer.
hmm
Okay. Yeah, see, I fold my workout tops, I fold my t-shirts, I fold my leggings. The only thing that I have hung up are like work clothes, dress clothes, and the dress pants and all the different dresses and all of my sweaters, like
Hmm.
my cardigans. My sweatshirts are folded, but my cardigans are, did you see that, Dee Dee? I knew the difference. This is not a sweatshirt or a sweater, but I have all of these hung up.
I try to hang. I hang what I can. We've got two bars in our closet, and instead, when we first moved in, Arnie was like, "Do you want the top one or do you want the bottom one?" And I was like, "I want both. Let's split it down the middle because that way I can have my tops on the top and my bottoms on the bottom."
hmm
And he was like, "Okay, that makes sense." I mean, I didn't want one whole thing. I don't know. To me, it's easier to go up and down than it is to go all the way across the closet.
Yeah, it's like splitting a bagel and you split it by doing this. When you
Right.
split a bagel, you need to cut it in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me and Shalon used to do that all the time.
But we would have to tell the people at Panera how to do it.
Yeah. They were
Right.
like,
Because
well, just
you either
take
get the
take a
top or
top.
the bottom.
Right. And when you do like an everything bagel, all of your everything is on top of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This is pointed out too. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Cut it down the
I
middle
get it.
like you're supposed to, like a sandwich. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're going to split a sandwich? Do you want the half that has the ham or the half that has the cheese?
Oh, shoot.
I mean, come on, people, get with it.
I also have from Instagram, the top organizers, the top three for 2025.
Oh, wait, 2025. We're just halfway through.
Well, it's based on followers
Okay.
at this point in time, so it obviously changes. But the top at 1.2 million followers is Beatrice, Beatriz.
Okay.
Her handle is Make Life Simpler.
Oh, yeah. I follow her.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just started following her today.
She's got
But
some pretty interesting stuff.
yes, she does. And of course, these are big accounts, so they're going to have, the paid promotional things that they do with different stuff.
Yeah.
But her bio talks about home cleaning tips and organization, and she says that she shares useful finds to make life simpler. And next was Haley Hendel, and her handle is at Haley Hendel, HaleyHendel, and she has 561,000 followers. She shares clean eats for the family. She says that she's a fridge organizing machine. And she says it comes with a side of fitness and mom life. I scrolled through her page and she did have some definite, easy clean eating recipes that I was like, okay, I'm saving this because I'm going to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3 was Sherry Morris. And her handle is at sherry.designs, SHAREE.DESIGNS, 403,000 followers. And her bio talks about home, life, and DIY. And she says that she is designing her way through an intentional life and creating spaces along the way. I have the page that I got these off of, Karen, is actually a list of 35.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
will link, so if anybody wants to go follow anybody.
Yep. I actually have that link as well.
Oh, okay. I had written down to mention Marie Kondo, which you already did. And then there was another one called the Home Edit. Have you heard of them?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's um,
Two ladies,
Cleo and
Clea and Joanna.
Joanna. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also have a Netflix show called Get Organized with Home Edit.
Yep.
And they have a website, thehomeedit.com, with all sorts of goodies that you can get into.
Yeah. They have their own line of products as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
noticed that.
you don't have to have all of the fancy clear containers or anything like that
Mm-mm.
to be organized.
No, I certainly don't do that for my refrigerator. I've thought about it, but then I'm like, my husband would probably get very frustrated with that because he would either have to remove it to pull it out or have to get in it to move it out. It's easier if it's just there and all you have to do is grab it and pull it out instead of having to pull it out of a container.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, what gets me is
obviously,
when I see people put those little lazy Susan things in a
yeah,
refrigerator.
I
I'm
don't like
like,
that. Mm-mm.
I mean, I could fit more things in a square than I can a circle.
Yeah, well, yeah, they just takes up space, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't do that. I mean, I've seen that, and on some of the sites that I have, I think one of them even says that, but that's not something that I've done, and I am not going to do it.
yeah. So how do you organize your fridge?
Well, for me, it was like 4 or 5 months ago. Work let us leave early on Friday if we wanted. So I left early and I was glad because I forgot to get something from the store on Thursday. So I stopped at the store, got whatever it was. I think it was like bell peppers or something. And I brought it home and I went to put it in the fridge and I said, no, I'm done with this. So I pulled everything out of the fridge. Anything that was no good, I threw away. Anything that was outdated, I threw away. That was it. And when I cleaned it, I actually pulled the shelves out and washed them. That's not something I normally do. That's like a once a year thing, maybe. But I was doing it. I pulled all the drawers out. I cleaned it. And I put everything back together. And I said, I need to do something that's going to work better because it was organized at one point, but now it's disorganized. Okay. And that's what disorganized means, that you were once organized and you're not anymore. That's disorganized. Unorganized means you were never organized to begin with.
Right.
Just so people know the difference between those two. But
am
so,
both
and
of those
I
people.
can't do this anymore. And so I thought about it for a minute. And the pictures that I sent you guys to look at, the shelf that is now cold drinks,
Mhm.
that was like, I had like yogurts there and stuff like that. Okay. And I'm like, no, I want the leftovers and the things like that. I want them right where I can see them and right where my husband can see them, because he's not going to look for anything. If it's not where he can see it, it's not there. I mean, sometimes if it's right there where he can see it, it's still not there for him. I have to go and like point at it and say, right there, see ketchup right there, right in front of your face. But anyway, if it's not there, he won't eat it. You know, my husband can see a deer 100 yards away that is brown in brown trees, but he can't find the ketchup right there in the the refrigerator door. And that is honest to God's truth with my husband. Because we'll be going somewhere and we'll stop and he'll say, "Oh, see that deer?" And I'm like, "No, it's right there. You see that?" "No." "Well, what do you see?" "I see trees," because it blends in with the trees. It's camouflage. He can see it, but he
You know,
cannot see the ketchup in the kitchen door.
there is a scientific reason for that, is because
Mm-hmm.
women see more colors than men
Yes.
can see.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's true. I've experienced it. He can see a deer 100 yards away in brown trees, and the deer's brown like the trees, but he cannot see the ketchup in the refrigerator door, and the ketchup is always in the same place in the refrigerator door, and he still can't see it. I
Yep.
always try to keep it in the same place so it'll be easier for him to find. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's another discussion entirely. So, okay, back to my dilemma. I had to figure something out, and I thought I want to put the leftovers or anything that could be considered a leftover. Well, I guess it is kind of like a leftover. Like you got a cantaloupe that's cut up, you eat some of it, and the rest of it's in a bag. That's a leftover. Wanted that all right where I could see it and right where he could see it. So that's what I did. I took the one big shelf that was, you open the door, it's right there. You cannot help but see it. So I did that. And we also needed places for our eggs. Okay. And I decided bottom shelf. So they went there. And then, fruits and vegetables separate, which of course that was no big deal. And I gave myself a shelf. Okay. Because I'll fix me a lunch and put it in the refrigerator. And because his work schedule is so much different than mine at times, he'll get home and he'll be hungry and he'll see what I have on my shelf or for my lunch and he'll eat it. He's like, "You need to put a
Don't
sign
you
on it.
eat my
Don't eat it."
lunch?
Yeah. And I'll get up the next morning, my lunch is gone, and I have to quickly open a can of soup or something. So I said, and I told him, "This is my shelf. You do not touch anything on this shelf.
No touchy.
You leave this shelf alone." Okay. Anyway, so that's what I did. I basically organized it. And I know from reading all kinds of stuff that you don't store your milk in the door. You don't store your yogurt in the door, which I never have. So now the yogurt goes on my shelf because that's what I take for my breakfast. The boiled eggs I eat for my breakfast at work, they go on my shelf. So he cannot have my boiled eggs because I do what I need for the week and they're there. So I gave me a shelf, and his shelf, I guess, is the leftover shelf. And that's actually is where I put his lunches, but it is leftovers because his lunch will be like when I fix supper, I'll fix 3 meals instead of 2 of all the same thing. So
Right, yeah.
technically it's a leftover. So his lunch goes on that shelf. And so far it's worked out because on Saturday, yesterday, I wasn't thinking about our podcast at all. I was like, okay, I need to get this stuff out of here. And so I just cleaned it all out and I did my weekly thing I've been getting in the habit of doing. And then I'm like, oh, I should have took pictures before because I can take pictures of this and share this for what we're doing this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the pictures, and so that's basically what I did. Now I do keep my butter in the door, and I've read that you shouldn't keep your butter in the door because the change in temperature where you open it and close it can change the quality of the butter. But I've not. It's good.
That's
It's
all
still
my
good in the door.
keep butter out on the counter.
Yeah, I do too.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would the change in temperature change
I
the
I don't know. That's just what I've read, and I'm like, well, I'm keeping my butter in the door.
I mean, I don't keep my milk in the door because it's
No.
heavy and I don't want my doors to get wibbly
Hmm.
wobbly.
Well, now I keep my now, and I've also read that you're supposed to keep your milk on a bottom shelf in the back. I keep mine
No.
on the top shelf in the back. It's colder
Oh,
in the back than it is in the front,
yeah.
and it's just not going to work for me to put it on a lower shelf because I got a lot of eggs, and I need my leftover shelf where my husband and I can see it.
Yeah. When I was volunteering at my church and I was cooking in the daycare center
Hmm.
and I had to go get a food handler's license, your bottom shelf is for your raw meats.
Yeah,
If you're defrosting something, it goes on your
yeah,
bottom
and
shelf.
yes, yes. Now, if you're going to put it on another shelf because you don't have room or whatever, put it in a dish.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't leak. But I am, because I've got enough room, believe it or not, above the eggs, between the eggs and the shelf above them, I've got enough room to slip in small things. So I have a T-bone steak I put out. I think I put it there Friday when I got off from work. No, it was yesterday after I did all the cleaning and stuff. I pulled it out the thought because I'm gonna fix that today for supper and for lunches tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's their thawing now because I did that after I did all that. But that's how I did my fridge, and so far for the past 4 or 5 months, it's worked out pretty good. It's stayed organized.
Well, good.
Yes.
And this is something that I learned from Mama, right? Is that
Yeah.
once something that you own has a place to live,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to stay where it lives.
Yes. Yes.
But
All.
that brings up a good point, which I've noticed about myself. Again, having just moved into the house and having to decide where I want things in my kitchen. You know where I have my silverware now,
Yeah.
and which, at the time it made sense because we were talking about it because it's right by the dishwasher. I can just right there put them away.
If it were me, it would be where your junk drawer is, your dish towels.
That's all the way
Right.
on the end.
No, right in front of your refrigerator, that drawer.
Okay, there's two drawers there. And it's funny that you say that because I have a tendency to reach for that drawer right next to the sink on the left-hand side to
Hmm.
look for the silverware. But I don't know if that's because that's where it was in my house I just moved from, or if that's where I need it to be functionally,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that's something that
Well,
I
if you
can,
think about it, Mother's house, from her sink, her silverware is on the left.
it is. It is. It's to the right of her stove.
Yeah. I guess technically mine is to the right of my stove, to the
Yeah,
right and behind. But yeah.
behind diagonal. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just you
Where's your
brought
silverware, Dee Dee?
yeah, Didi, where's
To the
your
right of the
silverware?
stove. To the right of the stove. My cooking utensils are to the left of the stove.
Oh yeah, mine too. I got
Mm-hmm.
this wee little teeny tiny little cabinet that's
Mm-hmm.
basically useless except for cookie sheets. And I've got a vase thingy
Mm-hmm.
that I've got them all in.
Mm-hmm.
Visual organizer.
Yes.
Gotta have it out where you can see it.
Yes. Now, as far as kitchen stuff goes, I don't care if it's in a drawer because if I need it, I'll know where it is. I have stuff hanging on my walls in the kitchen right now
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I don't have space for it in a cabinet. Like my pans are hanging on a wall.
That's fine.
My
There's lots of kitchens that are designed that way.
Yeah,
If not on the wall, like above the cooking place, your stove or your kitchen island where you do all your chopping and stuff, that people hang them there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
as far as crafting goes, I mean it's everywhere. Um, hang on, like literally everywhere. You see it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't.
It's yarn. Uh oh, where'd she go?
Yeah, that's something that Cass mentioned too, was having, the tendency to leave things out until you're completely done with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could show you my dining table. You will see that.
I saw that yesterday. But you're working on something.
I am working on something.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me anyway to be in the middle of a craft and then have to put it away,
And that's a lot of stuff to put away that's over there.
that you're going to have to get back out to finish anyway.
Yes.
Now, organization is crucial for individual success and effective teamwork because it enhances efficiency, reduces stress, improves time management, and promotes productivity. It helps individuals find what they need quickly, manage tasks efficiently, and collaborate efficiently with others. Now, of course, that's more like a work environment kind of definition, but can also apply to your home, especially if it's more than just you living in your home.
Well,
Basically the same concept.
let
Yeah.
me say this. Have you ever seen a picture of Albert Einstein's desk?
Yeah.
I don't know about being organized, being tied to your success.
Yeah, I get that, and I do. But like I said, that's designed more for like an office for like an attorney or like a warehouse, so that if you need tape guns, all of the tape guns are always in the same place. That way, you always know where you can get one. The tape is always in the same place. That way, you know where the
Right.
tape is.
So, like,
That
if
type of
more than
thing.
one person needs to get their hands on it, everybody knows where it is if it's
Yes,
organized.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, you have to, otherwise, it's not going to function.
Right.
And you can set your home up, if not in the exact same way, a similar way. Like if everybody in your house likes to make and drink coffee in the morning, you need to have your coffee pot where everybody knows where it is. It's a good idea to have your toilet paper in a spot where everybody knows where it is. That way, if they need a roll, they can get it. These are good things.
I love that example.
So, I mean, you don't want to be angry at someone because they didn't replace the toilet paper roll and have them say, "I don't know where it is." So, make sure they know where it is. That way, they can replace the roll. So, but yeah, I mean, you get the idea. It doesn't have to be an exact, because trust me, my little work area I have in my living room where I'm doing everything I'm doing, I've got it on the love seat,
Yeah.
and I got a little pile right here. Nobody sits there. It's my little pile of my notes that I'm writing. I got all kinds of notes and all kinds of different colored pens so I can make notes in different colors. It's all right there. So I get you on that. I don't necessarily think total perfect organization means success. I don't think it does. No.
Yeah.
Now, we do need to be careful though, because you can over organize and it can be problematic. It can lead to excessive stress, rigid routines, and difficulty adapting to unexpected situations. And in some cases, extreme organization might be a symptom of an underlying condition like OCD.
Yeah.
You need to find the balance between your organization and over organization. You need to focus on efficient time management, task prioritization, and take breaks. I mean, and you don't over organize it. If it takes too much time to keep up with the organization, it's probably too much.
Mhm.
Like, let's say, okay, we talked about organizing your closet earlier. If somebody, let's say they want a color code and they want to put like all of their t-shirts on this color hanger and all these long sleeve shirts on this color hanger, if you do that, but then you get rid of a t-shirt, do you have to go and buy another t-shirt for that hanger because it's the color for the t-shirt? It's not for a long sleeve shirt or a sweater. You're over organizing if you do that. Just buy hangers all the same color. That way
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's still organized. And this stuff actually came from a website that I'll share with you, Karen.
Okay.
Um, what else have I got here? I've got talks about like over container transferring is what it was called on the website. And the example they gave was like a spice rack. You get a perfect spice rack. You love it. You get it. You got it in its place, and it's got its little canisters that are all the same, and it's perfect. It's organized and it's perfect. But then you find a recipe that you want to try, but it takes a spice you don't have. So you go and you buy it. What if there's no room for it?
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't have any more containers? You got to buy containers. What if your spice rack you bought has 2-ounce containers, but the one you bought has 4 ounces in it. What are you going to do? So, and the solution they give for this is to do a tiered spice rack where all of your spices can be organized. It's not going to be beautiful and like perfect, but it's going to be organized and functional. Yeah, so you find something that works for you, but don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Don't look for perfect, look for good enough. So,
My big thing
and
is functional.
yeah, me too.
Yes.
Me too. Yes. You don't want to overdo it, but you do want to have some organization. So if for some reason you need them, you can find them. And you don't have to label everything. I mean, labels are great and wonderful, but if you got, let's say you got a cabinet and you've got things in containers and you can see in the container, don't label it, because if you can see what it is, there's no need in doing a label.
Right.
That would be overdoing. But if it's you can't see in it, then yeah, you're going to need a label.
Yeah. And two, if you label it, then you always have to keep that one thing in that container.
This is true. Yes, yes. So clear containers might be a good idea depending on how you are, if you make a lot of changes or not. And the next thing I have here is that be open to adjustments. Like Shalon, you just said, you had your silverware in one drawer, but it's not working for you. So be open to adjusting it and putting it in another drawer.
Yeah. That was just based on how I automatically moved and flowed in my
Mhm.
kitchen. Again, how functional was it?
Okay, you got it. And it does. Well, I also found information that says if you have problems with all of this stuff and you feel overwhelmed, maybe you need to seek, I mean, seriously, seek some professional help. You may have OCD and
Yeah.
you may need help with that. And if you do, that's fine. Get some help.
You were talking about getting professional help. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need professional psychological help,
No.
although you may.
Hmm.
If you're just trying to get organized, you just might need a professional organizer to come in and get you started.
Right. And this is true. And if you're new at organizing, you're going to have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
So you're going to figure
Well,
out
like
what kind of organizer you are.
Shalon going into a new house, if you are
Hmm.
newly married and you've never lived outside of mom and dad's roof before, then you got to find your own style.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or if you've never lived with someone and then you get married and now all of a sudden you've got to live with a man or a woman and it's like they're completely different than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I was mentioning earlier, just the stages of your life that you're in. When you have
Hmm.
little toddlers, I don't know how people do it if they can stay mega organized when they have toddlers.
Don't know how they do it either because my
Like
house was
you,
utter
you,
chaos
you
when my
must
kids
be
were small.
job as a homemaker. Like you don't work outside of the home.
Hmm.
And if you
Hmm.
do work outside of the home, you've got somebody coming in to help you.
Hmm.
Probably.
I
Because
mean, it may not be paid help coming in to help you, but somebody is helping you.
yeah, there was no way I could keep up with being uber organized beyond like we were talking just the bins to throw things in.
Yeah.
you know, this
Hmm.
part of my pantry, because I had a nice big pantry at the house, is that's where all the crap stuff goes. If just put it over there, and then when I'm ready to deal with the crap stuff, I'll get to it.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. So as things change,
Yeah.
your organizing systems have to
Hmm.
change as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You have
that's
to
just the way it is.
adjust.
And the way
Yeah.
you
Be open to
declutter
adjustment.
has to change.
Yes. And decluttering is very important. That's your first step if you're going to get organized. So declutter first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably decluttering is a whole nother episode on its own because we've
Hmm.
spent the last hour just talking about organization.
Hmm.
Some people can let go of things like photographs.
Yeah.
With that right there is actually an up and coming um, subcategory of the personal organizer,
Hmm.
which is people who help you with your videos and your photographs. Because if you
Hmm.
think about it, there is no way anybody in 1950 had as many photos as we've got now.
Oh no, no way. Mm-mm, not even the pros.
Right. Not even the pros. I don't care how long you've been in business. right?
Yeah.
And people need help getting these things organized.
Hmm.
I mean, I have external drives, plural,
Yeah.
3 of them, full of nothing but pictures and videos.
Yes.
And that doesn't count what's on my desktop computer and what's on my laptop computer and what's on this handheld computer,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know? And now that places like Google Photos or Amazon Photos, all these
Hmm.
different internet cloud driven storage places, especially Google, they're starting to limit you on the amount of space and then they want to
Yeah.
charge you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So there comes, they've got you unless you
Hmm.
get organized
Hmm.
with your photographs and your videos. Well, do we have anything else that we want to add about organizing?
Makes life easier.
That it definitely does. And that's speaking from having come from a, what did you say it was? Not
What?
disorganized, but
Um,
unorganized?
if you were never organized to begin with, you're unorganized.
Yeah. All right. Next week, we are going to talk Appalachian, and we'll cover several different things under that heading. Right?
Right. Yes.
All right. I will talk to you guys in the chat and see you
Okay.
next week.
Okay. Sounds good. Love you.
Love
Love
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.
He has learned my exit ritual and he just started whining and picked up his ball and just dropped it on my foot.